Alright everyone, so I'm gonna give redhook some love. I think the Leviathan's a very well balanced boss. We'll talk about why it's balanced. Beginning it's kind of hard. Once you get all the right heroes and trinkets and stuff at the end, it's kind of easy. And we'll obviously talk about why it's a good design and all that stuff. I'm gonna try my hardest not to narrate my battle and my thoughts. I'm gonna try my hardest to talk about the boss, where it's balanced, what its gimmick is, why it's designed well. All that stuff. So obviously the boss is going to blind you and make you vulnerable. It's attempting that once per turn, so obviously you're going to need looks of bandages, and you're probably just going to have to eat the vulnerability tokens. You could have stuff that removes that, but for the most part, vulnerability tokens are just going to have to be eaten. Blind is pretty good in Leviathan, as you can pretty much just blind it the whole time. It dodges a lot of its attacks, and then we'll get to its gimmick. But for now, the HP sitting at 155 also makes it the second highest in HP. Can't remember the Harvest Child. The Harvest Child obviously has other stuff, but I think its total HP pool is second highest. Now it is a single target thing, and okay, so the Leviathan's hand, I like the fact that Undertow is a percent-based chance. I believe I checked the man at arms here. He has 55, so I don't know if it's out of 100 and actually only had a 45% chance to Undertow me. I will show a fight where that happens, so don't worry. I'm not going to show a fight where the main gimmick of the boss doesn't work. So obviously the Leviathan's hand is the gimmick though, right? It's kind of like a hag, but a little different because the hand actually gets to do a few battering abilities and all that stuff, and you still have the Leviathan acting. So focusing the hand is actually extremely important. You can't just avoid the hand and play with 3 heroes like you maybe could with the hag, because the hag, you could be like, alright, you know, like, yeah, you got my hero in there, but the pot's not doing any extra abilities. She would unlock a few abilities, obviously, once you got someone into the pot. But the hand does batter you, the Leviathan gets some turns, and you just generically want all of your people ready and available, especially if you're early in the game, you maybe don't have all that quick damage. And as you can see there, the miss chance is actually pretty good. It misses the Tidal Surge, which is one of its big things, and the Breath of the Sea is what gives you your blinds and your vulnerabilities. So you're constantly having to be using either skills or items to get those off of you, which I think is good design. It pretty much ends really soon here, but it's not because the boss is poorly designed. This party was a well-oiled damage machine. It sadly didn't make the final cut, the final boss was the leper, because I was too busy trying to focus lungs, not the main body, but yeah. Anyways, so I do think the Leviathan's well designed. It looks good. I believe his damage and stuff is good. Its main gimmick forces you to fight differently, and we'll see that in the next video here. I'm going to have to play the next video with no sound, as I was talking to my friend on Steam. Alright, and we get to the Leviathan. So we get to see the Breath of the Sea immediately. Once again, we know what that does. So this is going to be a different build. This isn't going to be your pure DPS them down build. This is, I think, lower level. No, how many max skills do I have? Let me see how many max skills I have. Okay, so this actually might be second or third as well. But what you're going to see here is, though, since I don't have such a raw damage party, you're actually going to see a little bit of not as much burst fire on the hand. So you're going to see a little bit of a different variation here. Since this party doesn't have as much raw damage, you're going to see me struggle just a little more, because I'm not going to be able to burst it down with a sacrificial, 100% sacrificial damage occultist. I think the man at arms is still bulwark, but I don't got a leper up front, so you're going to have to see me more of DOT this down. And once I still have an Ichor Bomb, which is good. And me walking with more stress is just kind of one of those bad things where it's like, oh crap, I just have way too much stress. So when the Deep Rising comes up, it's actually going to be an issue. We'll see what it does. I honestly can't remember what this fight does. I know I eventually get Undertowed, right? No, another resist. Okay. So maybe one thing they could do is maybe make the chance to get Undertowed a little better. I don't know if it's just flat out 100%. Because that would leave probably only, I don't know what everyone's resistance is, but I'm assuming it's probably only 70-80% chance to get grabbed. And as the boss's main mechanic, you're going to want that to be a little better. So maybe some way to make this boss just slightly better, not 1,000 times better, but definitely bring that chance to get Undertowed a little higher, as this boss is going to really rely on that. And I swear, guys, I get Undertowed, because once again, I can't do that burst damage. And DOT is also not a bad way of doing this boss, and I don't have any blind tokens on, so you're about to watch me get pretty wrecked again. So having some blind tokens on this boss, I would actually be able to do it with the runaway here, but the kind of the point is like I don't have that physical raw damage. Where I like that it has enough moves that DOT work, but if you don't really have like a lot of great utility skills, sometimes you're going to get smashed with strong abilities. And if you don't necessarily have enough strong abilities for the hand, you're going to have to get grabbed by that. So I think the boss's HP is good. I think its abilities are balanced. Design is great. It makes you adapt to the fight when you do get grabbed, which I know I do. I'm pretty sure I do. Because he's going to do the hand. Yeah, Deep Rising. Here comes the hand. Okay, I think this is when I get grabbed. Sadly, it's going to be like right at the end of the fight, but I'm pretty sure this time, no resistance. We actually get to show it. Finally, alright, right? Okay, so now I get grabbed, and this ultimately would change your fight greatly at any point. And I mean, it's going to change my fight even though I'm like kind of near the finish line, right? So this is why the boss has a decent design. I can't do just the same game plan when I get grabbed. And that's why it's infinitely better than the final boss they introduced, the Seething Sigh, is because I have to change what I'm doing based on the boss. I have to divert damage and all that stuff, or choose to fight with only 3 heroes while I get absolutely bombarded with the remaining skills. So I have to do things like harvest or choose if I wanted to blind the main guy. But at this point, I just decided to go all out damage. And because the hand will die the next round, so it only gets one more attack. Maybe the hand could get a little more HP, but you have to watch out. Because you do need enough... what was I going to say? You do need enough HP in the terms of like, people may fight this in the beginning of the game. So you can't have all of this HP and not be able to beat at level 1 or level 2. And if they do go down that path, they need to start giving certain bosses more loot and like better trinkets, because if you're gonna pretty much tell me, hey, this boss is like one of the harder ones, we expect you to beat it later, obviously the loot should match that as well. But right now I think it's really balanced. I think the design is great. It's probably one of my more fun bosses to fight, in all honesty. I really like fighting the Leviathan. I think it's a pretty unique fight. I like the design of it. I think the main gimmick's kind of cool. And it just feels like a good fight. I don't know how to say it. So I'm going to give Redhook its praise. The Leviathan's a good boss. Highly recommend fighting it. And if you do, when you do buy this game, I think it'll become one of your favorite bosses just because of the design and gameplay.